Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 9. It's happened. We've done 8 and the 9th is about to start of Legal Content Chat. Every week I have a fantastic guest in the legal space who is guaranteed to be dropping knowledge bombs all over the place and to help you in your business. I'm your host, Becky, and if you don't know what I already do, I'm happy to just give you a little lowdown. I'm a legal copywriter, which means I write content for established legal tech businesses, legal tech startups, law firms, and consultant lawyers. Also, people providing services in the legal industry. Most often, I tend to write blogs for businesses to help them rank better and therefore win more clients. I also write website content to do the same, as well as guides, ebooks, and white papers. So without further ado, let's go briefly to our generous show sponsor before I introduce my guest. Oh, wait, my bad. We don't have a sponsor. This seems like an ideal opportunity that if you are listening right now and you've got some cash that you don't know what to do with, I'm happy to have a conversation with you about spending it on sponsorship for this show. Speaking of spare cash, you could be in that position very soon if you take Jay Sahota's advice. He's coming up next. The focus of our conversation today is going to be how to make more money as a lawyer. So Jay, aka the Masala mentor, thank you for coming. Please introduce yourself.
Lovely to see you, Becky. How are you? And I'm your 9th guest. 9th is my lucky magic number, so we're in luck today. I think that's really good, actually.
That'll be a good one.
Lovely to see you looking so beautiful and glamorous as always. Really good to see you all. I'm Jay Sahota, the Masala mentor, and I am a mentor and trainer to law firms. You can tell that I'm still missing Christmas because I've got my Christmas cardie on here. So I'm still reminiscing. It's still a bit blue, isn't it, January, unfortunately? But we'll get there.
It is. Thank you. Oh, I'd love it if you tell us a little bit about yourself, Jay, for our audience who don't know about you. Tell us a little bit about your business, how you help clients, and if you want to tell us what you do in your spare time, we'd love to hear that as well.
I'll start on the spare time bit, actually, because there's a relevant point here, Becky. I love doing magic. I'm a conjurer. So I actually did a request here. I did a magic trick on LinkedIn this morning. So if you could all please go and like it and share it and comment, that would be much appreciated. I've not done one for a while, but people were saying to me, when are you going to next whip your wand out, Jay? So I had to do it this morning. And it was not quite a wand, it's sponges, basically. So I love doing magic. I hadn't done one for ages, months. I've just been so busy, I hadn't done one. So I thought I'd do one. So please go and like and comment and share. I love doing magic. I've been doing magic since I was 6 years old, actually. So long, almost 40 years, believe it or not. And it just takes me out of myself. I just love it. It's very different and it's great and relaxing and fun. So it's fantastic. So more about me. That's my main hobby, and swimming as well. I love swimming and spending time with my kids, and going to the temple. I'm very religious, and spending time with the family is great, really. So I'm Jay Sahota, the Masala mentor. I am a lawyer. I'm a litigation lawyer still. I actually did renew my practicing certificate this year, much to my chagrin, because I don't like the SRA very much. We'll keep that one quiet. Hopefully they're busy with the post office at the moment. Anyway, we won't start on that one. I am trained at Alan Overy. So I trained and qualified at Alan Overy, and spent many years in the city. I was acting for lots of big clients, the likes of Man United, Ryanair, Sainsbury's, Tesco, Chanel, Speedo. You don't want to see me in Speedos, by the way. Get that image out of your mind. I probably put the image in your mind now, haven't I? Not healthy. And spent many years in the city, and then started training up people, because I realized early on, actually, that many lawyers lack commerciality. I think it's outrageous that we go through university, law school, training contracts, we become more and more senior as a lawyer. Nobody ever sits us down and says, this is how you make money, this is how you're commercial, this is how you look after clients, or do time recording or costs or pricing, or go out and win work and get work from repeat work from clients, etc. Nobody ever teaches us that stuff. And the irony is, when I do say to people, who's taught you all this stuff? They say, oh, this partner over here. And I say, how good are they at it? Oh, not very good. So it just becomes diluted all the way down the tree, unfortunately. So it's bad that we're not taught any of this stuff. So I started doing a lot of that training up staff early on. So I realized how important it was, that commerciality, that commercial now, as well as being a good lawyer. So I was heading up departments, growing teams and departments, litigation departments and others. I had my own litigation firm in July, having left the city, had my own litigation firm with two, excuse my French, lazy arse. I was going to call them something else, lazy arse partners they were my 2 employees from my previous firm. I plucked them in and put them into my firm, and it didn't work. Financially, we did well, but they were lazy. And this is another thing I talk to my clients now about. You've got to have the same values, ambitions and goals as people you're working with. It's very important that you're aligned, and we just weren't. So I sold my share back to them after a year and a half. Again, we did well, but it was next step in my journey. I took over my old firm Jarman's in July 17, And we started with 9 staff, I think, summer 2017, and I built it up again, trained my team and all the sort of stuff that I'm talking about. I had a lovely team at Jarman's, and grew the firm, and we had 52 staff, and I sold it at the end of 2021. Wasn't looking to sell, I was made an offer I couldn't refuse. I was approached, and I thought, why not? I have a bit more time with the family, and I felt there was another calling in the ether. And then, so I left last year, and then last March, so coming up to 10, 11 months now, I started doing this mentoring, which I absolutely love. You can probably tell I absolutely love it. And I do a range of things. So it's 2 main things now. One is I go into firms and lift up all the floorboards and look at money, people, marketing systems, cash flow, growth strategy. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? And help them either to fix issues or on a growth plan or make more money, sort things out, grow departments, that sort of stuff. I had an inquiry from a client this morning who wants me to help her grow a department. And the other big thing that I love doing, and I think I mentioned before we got on that I got back from Norfolk late last night, having got back from doing one of these. I always feel a tiny bit jaded the next day. Comes with age, doesn't it? You wouldn't know, Becky, but it comes with age.
No clue about that.
Yeah, so again, I never used to get tired. I used to work 100-hour weeks and never get tired. And now I actually get a tiny, not majorly, but a tiny bit tired the next day with this driving up and staying up and then driving back the same day. So I do these workshops for clients on time recording, cost, pricing, client management, conversion. And it's that commerciality that we're talking about. So they're usually 5 to 6 hours. They're very involved workshops and explores all those issues. And I love doing them because I've had lovely, thanks to him up there, I've had lovely feedback from all my clients. They've been really glowing in their feedback, and they all made more money, and they're doing well. And the good thing about the workshops is they tend to instruct me on ideas that flow out of the workshop. So it's not just, this is the workshop, here we are. We explore issues and they say, well, actually, maybe we do need more staff, or maybe we do need to improve our pricing, or work on this conversion better, or move people around these departments, or grow this department, or reduce that department. So it brings out a lot of other fruit that we then work on an ongoing basis. So I love doing the workshops because, as you can tell, I love talking. So it's great fun, really. And as my wife says to me, what other job would you get paid for when you're just talking at people and being looked after? And it's true. Well, there's a lot more than that. It's imparting a lot of knowledge, skills, and experience I've built up over the years. And it's quite a mean feat to speak for 5-6 hours without a break usually, but I love it.
Amazing. Well, thanks for your life story there, Jay. That's great.
That's all right. I'm not sure that's the question you asked, was it? But there you go. You had it anyway.
You know what? In a roundabout way, it absolutely was. It's absolutely fine. So I've promoted this event as a way for our audience to learn several things. Okay. So make your work life more fulfilling and enjoyable. Ensure your home life is less stressful. Stop wasting money and have more in the bank. Improve your time recording and enhance conversion rates. So that's quite a lot of stuff to unpack there. Let's hear how we can achieve this. I'd love for you to explain a little bit more about how you help law firms now. First of all, though, I'd quite be interested to know where most of your clients tend to come from. I know you are, as I am, prolific on LinkedIn. Is that where most of your clients find you, or have you got other means and magic ways?
Do you know, it's interesting, Becky. When I started doing this, I'm some of you will know I was a prolific networker. So I used to go to the opening of an envelope, basically. Did a lot of networking. I was called a networking tart at one stage. I think it was a bit of a backhanded compliment, really. Used to go to all the events, and I presumed, and this is not to malign anybody or to be supercilious about it, but I presumed that all my work would come from my lawyer contacts. But I know loads of other lawyers. I've always been networking with them, got colleagues, friends, and that's, funnily enough, that's what gave me the idea of the business, because people would approach me before I sold and say, Jay, can we just pick your brains on cash flow or marketing or growth or strategy? And, you know, can we have a half an hour? Always give them half an hour of my time. And they'd say, one day, think about doing this for a living. And that's why I started doing it. So it was actually my contacts who planted the idea in my head, planted the seed. Yeah. So I presumed for that reason that when I started doing this, all the best work would come from my legal contacts and my friends, colleagues, lawyers, you know, people in my network. That has not been the case at all. I mean, I've been really surprised in a good and a bad way, I suppose, that actually 95% of my work now comes from LinkedIn. And it tends to be people I don't know from Adam, law firm owners I don't know from Adam. As you see, I post regularly. Thankfully, you know, what I say, a lot of it, they tell me it chimes with what they're going through and their fears, worries, experiences, what they'd like to do better, what they're not doing well. So I post regularly, and people see it and they approach me, and I get a lot of work from LinkedIn. And because of that, the corollary is I people might tell me this is the wrong approach. I don't do any networking now at all, because I just don't find that is a good source of work. Again, I'm not slagging off networking. It was amazing for me as a litigator, absolutely amazing. And I even teach people how to network as lawyers. So I think it's an amazing source of work for lawyers, and that's one of my tips. It's much underused and underutilized by lawyers, and they don't go about it in the right way. So for lawyers, it's fantastic. It just doesn't work as well for me now. So LinkedIn, again, a very long answer to a very short question, Becky. You'll find this today. Is that most of it comes from LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's great, isn't it? As you well know.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely love it. And I think when you hit that content right, and you really are talking to your audience, whether it's on LinkedIn or whether it's through your website or any other kind of means of communication, and you really start to resonate with people, that's when you get the right clients come and find you, which is exactly what we're all after. So that is awesome.
Well, I can't aspire to be anything as good as you are on LinkedIn. I think you're one of my inspirations. So yeah.
Oh, you're too kind.
I'm down here, you're up there. So yeah, I'm still learning.
I think I post quite a lot of nonsense actually, but people seem to like it.
I love it. So I love it. It's great. People like the irreverent stuff. People like my sock posts.
They do.
Who would have thought? And Christmas and magic and all that sort of stuff, you know.
Yeah, well, I think when you come across as a little bit different to everybody else, you know, and you're not really serious, I think that's all it all helps, doesn't it? So
yeah. And that's one of my tips to lawyers, actually. Lawyers tend to post content, as you know, on LinkedIn, which is quite hard, you know, concrete, dry, you know, unhumorous, whereas I, even as a litigation lawyer, would post irreverent content all the time. And you've got to get your personality across, both on LinkedIn and in other means of marketing. It's really important.
Because I mean, let's be real, there are plenty of people without personalities. So, you know, if you have one, you should definitely use it. I'm all for that.
And unfortunately, the lack of personality tends to kind of hover around the lawyer accountant base, doesn't it? Really?
I never said that. That was all you.
You can blame me. You can blame me.
Okay, yeah.
Not anybody on this thing. I'm just
right. By the way, guys, if you do have any questions or comments as we go, please feel free to pop them in the chat, and we'll either address them as we go if they're relevant, or we'll just wait till afterwards. So yeah, anything that you'd like to say to us, please feel free. So what about the most common situations that you find your clients in? Can you talk to us about that?
Yes, there are a few. Either they are, they tell themselves that they haven't got enough work and they're not busy enough. And usually, I mean, you'll know this anyway, it's not because they need to market more, actually. There is no point filling a leaking bucket. So law firms think, I need to go and get more work, and suddenly I need to do more social media and go networking. And it's actually counterintuitive, because that, as you know, that stuff takes a while to come through the funnel anyway. So they will tell themselves, I need to go and do more marketing. That isn't usually the issue. They don't usually need more work coming into the business. The work is usually there anyway. They need to work on their existing clients better. One tip I give to all law firms actually is, if you make a grid of all your clients, I mean, I went through this when I took over my firm, make a grid of your top, say 200 clients, depending on the size of your firm, and look at the work they're giving you and the work they're not giving you, and just simply call them up and ask them why they're not giving you the other work. That if you've got any gaps in that grid, find out why there are gaps in that grid. I once did that as a law firm owner. I'd just taken over the firm. I thought, this client's giving us loads of property work, no litigation. Phoned him up and I said, Doug, what's going on? Why no litigation? Oh, I didn't know you did litigation. So just talking to clients can really help, because actually they fall out of contact or they're not up to date with what you're doing. So keep talking to your clients all the time. It's one of my tips. Just touch in with clients. There doesn't need to be a reason. You don't need to be updating them on a case. Just call them and say, how's the family? How's work? How's life? How's business? You'll be amazed at the amount of business you get out of it. And lawyers don't do that enough. So it's working on your existing clients, making sure you're nurturing them in the right way. And conversion is another big one, where people just don't convert. Again, there's no point going out of marketing if you're not converting your leads properly. Answer the phone, pick up the phone, be proactive. Don't have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 options on your phones, because clients hate it. I can tell you that from having done lots of research on it. All law firms I phone, either they don't answer the phone quickly enough and they just give up. Clients are time short. They'll go and find another firm. And they don't like this. Press 1 for commencing, 2 for Joe Blogs, 3 for crusty old senior partner in the corner. They don't like that sort of stuff at all. So be proactive, make it easy for clients to find you and to get in touch with you. And then when they do get in touch with you, convert properly. More about that later. So that's one situation where they're telling themselves they need more work. Actually, they don't. And then I work on that. And the second one tends to be that they're busy, but not making enough money. And I call it the blue ass fly syndrome. So they are busy running around all over the place, pillar to post, and it's all a bit of a nightmare. And my solution to that, usually, depending on their particular nuance, but it tends to be the issue, is that they are usually either, I'll come on to solution in a minute, usually they are doing one of two things. Either they are lightly touching lots of different files and not getting on with the work, so they're not keeping their clients happy, nothing is actually progressing. Or the other extreme is that they're really involved in 2 or 3 big cases. They've got a massive pile of 40 cases sitting on the corner of their desk, gathering dust that they're not getting around to, basically. And the way to deal with that, I call it DP. I've got loads of these acronyms, DPTO. So it's delegation, prioritization, and organization, and I can't remember what the T is now. That's good, isn't it? Good memory. Teamwork. God, I can't remember one of my own acronyms. Delegation, prioritization, teamwork, and organization. Really, really important. And there are a few elements, I'll break them down, a few elements of that. The first is called push and tell. So if you're doing work, make sure you do the work and tell your client you've actually done something on the matter. This is all about value now. So I'll talk a bit about value later. If the client sees value in what you're doing, they will be happy and they'll pay you for the work, basically. The right client will pay the right price for the right work. They'll value what you're doing. As long as you're imparting value to them and project the value onto them, they'll be happy clients. You keep the client engagement happy, they will pay you for the right work. You're doing nice work together and everybody's happy. And part of that value is push and tell. They need to know what's going on their case at all times. So do the work, tell them that you're doing the work. There's no point doing work behind the scenes and not telling them what's going on. By the same token, there's no point not updating them. You must keep your clients updated. It's really important. The other element of that is delegation. So make sure you're delegating. Instead of trying to do all the, you'll see this in big firms, particularly the people are trying to do all the work themselves, hundreds and hundreds of files, and they're keeping nobody happy. So delegate. You might need to recruit, but delegate to a junior. The upside of that is you can probably both charge on the matter at the same time, so you make more money automatically. Instead of you being on at £300 an hour, there's 2 of you on, you're at £300 an hour, they're at £200 an hour. You're delegating the work to a junior, you're getting through the work, you're crunching through it, you're getting it done. Clients are happier, you're happier, your junior's happier, better work-life balance. Coming back to that point, you're not having to work ridiculous hours all the time, so delegation is important. Be discerning about the clients that you're taking on. It's better to have fewer, better quality clients. Everybody does that and grabs all the clients they can, but it's much better to have fewer, better quality clients. And if you're discerning about the clients at the outset, you'll be far happier. And I have a system which I can take you through another time. It's called This Is How We Work. This is how we work. You have a meeting with your clients at the outset of an interaction, and you say to them, these are the rules of engagement. And if there's any deviation from this, the relationship simply isn't going to work. It's going to break down. We won't be working with each other anymore. And you go through exactly what you're going to do for them: timescales, costs, pricing, how you work, what happens if they don't pay you, what happens if they do pay you. This is what will be done within X amount of time. These are the parameters of how you work together. It's a bit like a seesaw. So if you feel it tipping too far one way or the other, you know that it isn't working, basically. So that client relationship is very important. So be discerning with your clients. Be organized. So this is the prioritization, organization part of it, moving on from delegation and teamwork. So be organized, and also maximize, I come on to this later, maximize your time recording, costs and pricing, and make sure you scope and charge properly. And on the organization point, organize, one tip I give to everybody, and it works really well, is to organize your time in blocks. I'm a big fan of block working. In other words, don't try and do 11 matters within an hour, do a bit of this and a bit of that, running around like a headless chicken. What you should be doing is focusing your time on blocks of work on one particular matter or related tasks on one particular matter. And the best way usually to do that, people ask me how to maximize their time recording, is not only to do it in blocks, but also to draw up a list of your priorities in the previous night to see what's urgent, what's not urgent, so you've got that clear in your head. And also to get your time recording, your chargeable work done first thing in the morning. Because people will often open their post, have a cup of tea, go and talk to Maureen by the printer, go to the loo, do something other. Actually, and they get to 2 o'clock and they think, oh my God, I haven't recorded any chargeable hours. Start your chargeable hours early. Or I always used to start at 8:30 and then give myself a treat as a reward at 2 o'clock, have a croissant or something at 2 o'clock. Don't worry, I've got weird eating habits, more about that later. As long as you do your chargeable work early and concentrate and focus on that block, you've got it all done. Anything you do after that is a bonus, and you feel really good about the day because you've got so much time. So it's that focus and that time, and making use of effective out of office notifications, managing your team better, making sure that you're not interrupted, having team meetings instead of interruptions from people all the time. Loads of other tips, but that's the main ones in organization. So you're not losing time. And the corollary of that as well is, wrapping up this whole thing about why clients come to me, is valuing yourself. It's not it's not kowtowing to clients all the time, because the minute you start doing that, you're automatically shaving your time, you're discounting, you're giving away to your clients, you're bowing down to them all the time. It's a relationship of equilibrium in which you charge well for doing fantastic work, and you're projecting your value onto your clients because you value yourself and they value you effectively. So again, a very long answer to a relatively short question, but sorry.
That's fantastic, though. Thank you, Jay, because you actually just covered lots and lots of really good, actionable, quick tips there, which make a lot of sense. And I especially love being very open and transparent. And I think all industries can embrace this method. You know, when people are kept up to date on what's happening when they've paid for a service, you are already being proactive. You're not on the back foot. It's always, if you have to have an email or a call from a client to say what's happening with this, you're already on the defensive, aren't you, essentially? So being proactive is definitely the best way to be. Yes, we've got a question also from Zara, who's popped in the chat. So she says, what happens if you're a consultant and can't do DPT?
If you can't do DPT, well, then if you're not doing that side of it, you just need to manage your time and organize yourself better. So there's two limbs to that, really. One is, and I can take those offline in due course. If people want to send me a LinkedIn message, by the way, I can always give tips online and engage with people separately. So you would take from that the elements that are relevant to you, which is the organization, basically. So it's making sure that you're organized within yourself, you're organizing your time properly, you're being discerning about the clients you're taking, which comes all the way, as you know, Becky, comes right the way back to your marketing. So you're not marketing to the world, you're marketing to the right clients. And the way you market to the right clients is by getting, I'm treading on your toes here, hopefully I'm not, is by getting your positioning right. So talk about your the needs, empathy, fears, wants, desires of your client. That's the most important thing. By doing that in the right way, things that really speak to clients here. What I hate is when so I'm coming slightly off topic, is when you go into a law firm website, you know this, 150 years old. We were around when the dinosaurs were around. Who gives a monkeys about, how long you've been around? What clients want to know is, are you a good enough firm to look after their needs and wants and desires and solve their problems for them effectively? And if you do that bit right, and then you're more discerning with your clients, you'll get better quality clients who will pay you more money for the work that you are doing. You don't need as many clients. You're happier in your work life. As a result of that, you'll be able to organize your time around them better. You're not kowtowing to all clients all the time, millions of clients. You're working with a select few clients, charging what you want, working better. You're organizing your time better, using things like this block, eat the frog, eat that frog, and, getting the most difficult thing done in the morning, a traffic light system for prioritizing your time and organizing your time in blocks and making sure you're not interrupted. I do have a quick tip, which will answer that organization point as well. It's not for everybody, but it works for a lot of my clients. If you have an out of office message, I don't like the ones which say your email will be treated like post or reply within 25 years. I don't like those at all. But if you know the ones I mean from law firms, if you have an out of office which says, in the interest of client care and in order to make sure that I'm getting your work done, I only check my emails at 9 o'clock, 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock. Only check my emails at 9 o'clock, 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock. If it's urgent, please call me. They never do. Otherwise, I'll respond to your email within 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever. Clients, funnily enough, people think it's counterintuitive. It's not going to work. Clients aren't going to like it. Clients don't mind it. They get used to it. And it dramatically reduces the amount of email traffic that you get in. It frees you up to enable you to do the work. And it means that clients aren't chasing you all the time. If you're updating them anyway, following my method, you're updating them anyway, they don't need to be chasing you. You can focus on your work, get your work done. And if you combine these sorts of techniques with organizing yourself properly, coming back to Zara's point, you don't need the teamwork and delegation because you haven't got a team yet. But if you do this properly, you find that you're getting such good quality work that you can grow, and then you will be able to delegate because you're growing your firm, basically.
Precisely. So yes, and I believe that answers Zara's next question. Let us know if it doesn't, which was, what do you do about people/clients that expect you to always be on call? So again, it's being proactive and it's setting out your boundaries and your expectations, which the client will then adhere to. So
yeah, if right from the outset, lawyers don't do this, and I would suggest you do this both for new clients and existing clients, is to set out your boundaries and have a "this is how we work" meeting. I was talking about it to my clients in my workshop yesterday. This is how we work. And you set out the parameters of how you're going to work together. And you don't need all clients. You don't need, I call them PITA clients, PITA, pains in the arse. You don't need PITA clients. And I should make something of that. Masala, PITA. Maybe there's a Naan one somewhere. Well, we'll think
yes, I like that.
Something happening there, isn't there? Nonsense. Yeah. Some clients are just nonsense, aren't they? So you don't need all clients. So it allows you to be discerning with the clients that you're taking, basically. And that that system, that methodology, this is how we works well, so they come through the funnel in the right way, basically. And then if you feel that it's not going the right way, the relationship, you bring them back on track. And they can't say, you didn't tell me. You say, I told you right at the outset, and that this is how we work meeting. So they can never really have an argument with you because you've set out the boundaries right at the outset.
Yes, I love this. And we've had a lull. So I'm assuming that was to do with your nonsense comment. Please let us know, Peter. It wasn't, but there were lots of puns in there, so it could have been any one of them. We've had a question from Sunny. Thank you, Sunny. As a non-lawyer co-owner of a firm and coming from a sales/marketing and tech background, I find it quite crazy that some lawyers are purely reliant on referrals for their business and still also work purely on paper files. Do you think that the modern day lawyer needs to be more accountable for building work pipeline? Should they also be more open to using tech to bring more efficiency in recording work and managing matters?
I think I can best answer your question with an illustration of my magic square, which is that all lawyers need to be I think you've seen this before, all 4 points of my square. So if you imagine a square, 1, you need to be technically good at the law and people presume you're a good enough fee and technically competent anyway. Second, and I'll come back to the precise answer to the question in a minute. Second, you need to be commercial in terms of the business. So are we making enough money? Are we billing enough? What's our margin? What's our net profit margin? You'll be amazed at the number of lawyers, even law firm owners, who still don't know the difference between turnover, believe me, turnover and net profit margin. Even net profit and net profit margin are different. So law firm owners need to know what net profit margin is, not just net profit. If you don't, get your calculators out. So commercial in terms of the business, is it viable? Is it working? How much money do we need to make? How much is the seat cost? Take all your expenses, divvy them by the number of employees, and tell your employees your billing target is based on your seat cost plus X. So that's commerciality in terms of the business. Commercial in terms of the client, all the sort of stuff we've been talking about, Becky. So is this the right client for the business? Are we making enough money for them? Are we over egging the pudding in terms of time spending on the client? Are we actually under egging the pudding in terms of pricing? What can we do to make more money out of this particular client? Are we treating them well? Are they good for the business? All that sort of stuff. And the fourth one, coming back to Sunny's point, particularly, is work generator. So I think we're moving away from the sphere where just lawyers can just be technically good at what they're doing and not have to be commercial or systemized or techie, etc. You need to be all those things. And by work generator, I don't just mean going out networking. Some people hate the idea of networking, although if you come on my training, you'll start loving it. Hint, hint. Some people hate networking. But by work generator, there are loads of other ways of generating work. And that is just treating your clients better so they give you repeat work. We mentioned referrers, so getting work from referrers. There's an element of networking in there, but I cannot emphasize enough that just treating your clients well, asking them for work, doing that grid, converting them better, touching base with them, making sure that you're looking after them, they will refer you to person after person after person. So that in itself brings so much value. We're so busy as lawyers looking out for the next best thing that we forget what's in front of us, basically.
Yes. Okay. And what about using tech as well to be more efficient?
100%. I mean, a lot of my clients are rolling out new case management systems at the moment because they realize that tech is it's everything. It changes, revolutionizes firms, doesn't it? Really. And I was, even in my firm, I did a lot of tech innovation to try and make us more efficient as a firm. It's not easy when you're working with people who aren't used to tech, but it's bringing them on that journey with you. Basically, you've got to be careful because you can do things too quickly. I've had some firms contact me where they've tried to embed a new tech system or a new system too quickly, and people just go, "Oh, we don't like change. This is a nightmare." So it's a matter of not doing too much at the same time. You've got to be incremental in your approach and make sure that you're approaching it feasibly and organically in terms of how the business operates, basically.
Absolutely. I worked for a legal tech company for a year or so, and there is often a lot of resistance, especially because the legal industry can be one that is pretty risk averse to change or anything new. So it does have to be managed very carefully, and you do have to have buy-in from everybody to make that implementation go correctly. So, and it's all about really explaining the benefits for the lawyers and how it's going to make the firm more efficient and, equal more money at the end of the day, which is what we all want.
Exactly. And also listening to people. I mean, I've seen firms who've implemented case management systems. It's top down and bottom up. You think of every approach as a top down and bottom up approach. They've just imposed a system on people and said, this is what it's going to be, this is how it works. And actually people have said, well, can we tweak this bit? And that's not working. And actually we can make this bit more efficient. Listen to people when they give you feedback. You don't want a bloody post office horizon system, are you, where you just go with everybody. You want it to work for all the individuals involved, basically. So remember that whenever you're imposing any new modus operandi or strategy, or even things like targets, or this is how we're going to work better with our teams and as a firm, always make sure that you're bringing the staff with you on your journey. You don't impose, always collaborate. I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Sunny's come back to us again. So lovely. Lawyers hate stats. We have an intake system to record pipeline and also a case management system that can easily spit out reports that can show where a firm isn't performing. How do we get the old school to adopt this way of working and pay more attention to stats?
Beat them around the head with it. That's what I say. No, I think you show them. I think you show them the value of the data. That's the only way they will learn, actually. And you say to them, I did this with my staff, and I would say, let's take conversion rates. When I took over my firm, our conversion rate was in single figures. My old firm, the conversion rate was in single figures. By the time I left and worked my magic on it, hopefully, we were up at about 90%. Take the litigation department, for example. And the only way I could bring the staff on the journey with me is to produce the stats and the data and the information, show to them, look, well, this, if you improve this, not only will conversion improve, it means you're not killing yourselves to work as hard anymore, because the money and the work is all here. We just need to work in a slightly different way. This is how we're going to do it, and that will be benefit for everybody. So it's showing them the benefit. It's what you were saying earlier. As with anything, it's showing them the features and the benefits and the value of what's going to be delivered via the stats, and they'll then buy into the system. If you're just imposing information and saying these stats are brilliant, this is how it's going to work, they're not going to listen to you because they don't see why. People need to see what's in it for them. So always remember that, whether it's your clients or your staff, what's in it for them. That's really, really important. As long as they can resonate with that and their own needs, wants, empathies, desires, and their goals, ambitions, they will buy into a system, as long as you're doing it in the right way.
Yes, let's not go all parent role on them and go, we're doing this because I said so, which is one of my fail safes, actually. Why are we doing this, Mum? Why do I have to do that? Because I said so.
Yeah.
End of conversation.
Yeah.
So yes, let's not go down that road with our employees, for sure.
So
okay, that was great. Loads and loads of value there. Thank you, Jay. What about any misconceptions about your mentoring approach? Do you ever get any misconceptions about what you do?
I do. Either people think I'm going to be a gynecologist and just give them an automatic thumbs up, which is not the case, or excuse the pun, or they think I'm going to be like a plastic surgeon and just remodel and rework everything. I mean, it's in between. It's that collaboration again. It's a collaborative approach. It's funny that I think a lot of the reason why a lot of local lawyers are, I think, hesitant to use mentors, coaches, other lawyers, call them what you like, is that they know you. So they think, oh, Jay's going to take my confidential information. I don't want to tell him that I'm not as good at this as he thought I probably was, and we're not making enough money and all that sort of stuff. It's a transparent, comfortable, confidential place, basically, where it's just good to have a shoulder to cry on from, in terms of somebody who's been there and done that, really. And that's the big message. I've run law firms. I've been in different sizes of law firms. I've done this, I've done that. I'm not saying I'm amazing or perfect or, I do anything better than anybody else. I mean, my skills are given by God and my experience, but I'm trying to apply them in the best way that I can, and to improve people's lives and to make them more money and make them more commercial and make them happier in what they're doing. Basically, that's the end of the day. That's the solution at the end of the day. So if people can buy into that, great. But it's not that I'm suddenly going to preach at them or be horrible to them, or by the same token, I'm not going to put my big arms around them if they're doing stuff wrong. I will be honest and transparent with them, and as long as we have that community relationship, then fine. Basically, we'll work well.
Yes, brilliant. So we've got some pointers here on top tips. So top tips for each of these particular topics. So we discussed networking a little bit earlier, said that it's not for everybody. We understand completely that it can be an uncomfortable experience for people. In my experience, it's one of those things that the more you do it, the better you get at it and the more comfortable you feel after a little while, especially once you start to get to know people and build relationships. So, but what about how to actually get more work from networking? Have you got any specific tips around that?
Yes, I have. The first, God, we could be here all day on this, couldn't we? I'll try and break it down and make it. 2 minutes. Oh my God. The first one is to go to the right sorts of events. People often target the wrong sorts of events, and they go to a property event if they're doing litigation, or what I mean. Go to an estate agent event if they're doing litigation. It's not going to work, basically. So go to the right sort of event. I call it follow the money. It sounds a little bit crude, but the principle is follow the money. think about where your ideal clients will be and where your ideal referrers will be. That's really, really important. A lot of people still go to, I think 80% of lawyers still go to an event and think, I'm going to meet my ideal client there and they're going to give me work. Yeah, once in a blue moon that might happen, but not usually. You're usually going to meet people at events who are going to become your network, and then you'll eventually end up passing clients to each other, basically. So it's degrees of separation. It's somebody who you meet will then pass you somebody else, will pass you somebody else who then might refer you a piece of work via somebody else, basically. Don't go networking with the intention of getting work. You go networking with the intention of just making relationships and being nice to people. I talk about the weather and magic and family and all that sort. I don't even talk about work. So go with the intention of just getting on with people, having a nice time, building relationships and trust. Once you've met them at an event, you then say to them, let's have a one-to-one. This wording is important. Let's have a one-to-one to explore how we might be able to help each other in business. That's really important. So don't just go networking, expect work to fall into your lap. You have a one-to-one after the networking event. Always set up one-to-ones with the people you've met. You have a one-to-one. Coming back to the referrer point, by the way, I used to, and this is a good tip, I used to have a list of ideal referrers into my different departments. For litigation, for example, it was accountants, IFAs, mortgage brokers, estate agents, insolvency practitioners, other lawyers. Other lawyers was a big one. Lawyers neglect other lawyers. They think we're not going to approach them or go networking with other lawyers. Lawyers will usually be your best source of business, lawyers, actually. So go networking with other lawyers, because there'll be bits that you do that they don't, and vice versa. You can refer conflict work to each other, etc., etc. So don't rule them out. They should be part of your follow the money in terms of looking back and seeing where historically has your work come from, what sorts of clients, and who referred you to that particular client. So have a one-to-one with people. Usually they'll be on this ideal referrer list. If they're not, then you can ask for ideal referrers in the one-to-one. And then when you have the one-to-one, make sure you follow up. You say to them, and again, this is a pivotal question. You say to them, what sorts of clients and contacts can I refer to you? What sorts of clients and contacts can I refer to you? Really, really, really important question. Don't just talk at people. Ask them that question once you've got to know them a bit on the conversation. What sorts of clients and contacts can I refer to you? They will give you their ideal clients and contacts, referrers, in other words. They'll then ask you the same question. So you give them your ideal clients and contacts and referrers. And then you go away and start finding those ideal clients and contacts and referrers for each other. And a misnomer that lawyers make is that I need to refer X a client for the relationship to be valuable. No, you don't. Keep the relationship going and just refer them a referrer or a contact. You might be able to refer them a referrer or a contact or a client in the future, basically. And if you do that, the beauty and the magic is your network expands, because people are beholden to you because you've had this conversation. You've tried to help them. You've passed them clients, contacts, referrers. They will do the same for you. Then, because of that, your network automatically expands over time, and you're all referring contacts, referrers, clients to each other. And believe me, this waterfall approach, I call it, works amazingly. In my time as a litigator, I can't remember the year, I think it might have been 2020, just from networking and adopting this approach, I probably won about £1 million worth of work for my business as a litigator. So it's going to the right event, follow the money, think about your ideal clients and contacts, make a list, have a one-to-one in which you're genuinely trying to help the other person. You don't need to pass them clients. If you can, fantastic. And make sure you put the work in and look for clients and contacts for that person. They will do the same for you. Ask the right question. How can we refer clients and contacts to each other? Who are they? Make sure you do that and follow up and keep doing it. Keep the relationship going. Keep referring them clients and contacts. They will do the same for you. Your network expands. And once you've expanded your network, keep asking everybody in your network for ideal clients and contacts. They will do the same. You're passing work to each other, and your group, your network builds, and your work builds as well, basically. So it's all about following the money and identifying your ideal clients, contacts, and having those one-to-ones, basically. There's a lot more to it than that, but those are the main tenets of that particular thing.
I completely agree. And I know on our first one-to-one when we met originally, you asked me that very question. And that was lovely. And that was one of the first times I've been asked that question, actually. And it really got me thinking, once you told me who your perfect clients were, who else was in my network? So it works really, really well. And if memory serves me correctly, I think we might have passed a few names back and forth. Yes. And it was really, really good. I think another point, which I had a LinkedIn Live event just before Christmas with Rob Flint, who runs a referral.
I know Rob very well. Yeah.
You know Rob very well, yes. He was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. He was trying to bribe all of our audience to buy him gifts, but never mind. And he was talking about how to make referrals work for you. And I think the really important thing is some of the networking events you can go to, I won't name any names, are very hot on, you must refer this business. You must do that every week. but it doesn't sit well with me at all. And I think, especially in the legal profession, you cannot refer somebody to a service unless you know that they are going to be able to help them.
Exactly.
And you've got to know that person. So don't just give them out willy-nilly. Just make sure that you are very confident in doing that, because otherwise it will only reflect badly on you and your business. So that is something that Rob did mention, which is a really good point to raise at this point as well.
Well, I would say don't give them out willy or nilly.
Right. Yes.
Won't work, will it? Basically, yeah. So no, I agree. Yeah. No, and it's and that's why this approach works. It's relationships, and it's cool. I will use a BNI epithet. I know you're talking about BNI. I did do BNI for many years.
He said it, everybody. He went there.
Sorry. But the main principle from that is givers gain, and actually that's what this is all about. It's givers gain. You know, it's genuinely trying to help other people, and people generally are decent. Not all people. I think of a few who aren't. Some of them are in my family. I don't mind my immediate family, my extended family. I hope they're not listening. Oh God. But the epithet givers gain, and that really does work if you genuinely try and help people.
Yeah, absolutely. So the title of this LinkedIn Live is How to Make Money as a Lawyer. And obviously successfully achieving everything that we've discussed will help. Is there anything else that lawyers can do which is quick and actionable, or, you know, play the long game? Either or, actually. You can give me a response for both if you like. Anything else?
Yes, I'll quickly take you through some. How long have we got, by the way? I talk too much, don't I?
Well, we've been going for nearly 42 minutes, which is, you know, it's a decent length. We aim for anything over half an hour, so, you know, hopefully we've still got some people with us. But we'll give you 3 minutes on this one, Jay. 3
minutes. Gosh.
Yes.
So I'm going to I've made a quick list. So I'm going to run through the tips. We've covered networking, so make sure you have one-to-one to network. Clients, getting more work from existing clients. So make sure that you're checking with clients just because. Ask them how they are. Come up with that grid. Think about cross-selling, upsells. Think upselling. Think about your service levels and any differentiators you might be able to have in your business. For example, on your website, you don't need to chase us. Great lawyer, every service, every time. You know, different things that you can do for your clients. I've got clients working on differentiators, so you attract the right sorts of clients. Look after your clients and your referrals. On conversion, fear features benefits value. FFBV. Fear features benefits value. Make sure you take your clients through that process. Contact me for more information if you need that. can't go into it in detail now. Always quote in person. Chase your client 5 times at least if they don't get back to you. You'll be surprised, but that stats show you need to chase your clients. Answer calls. The biggest thing with lawyers, and I hate this, it's arrogant, is you're referred to a client. Lawyer will say, thanks for that, call me. That's really arrogant. Your client wants you to call them. The prospective client wants you to call them. So make sure you call the client and get in touch with them in as many different ways as you possibly can. Because you're getting the relationship on the right foot then. Talk about value first. Price comes later in terms of conversion. Always get back to new clients within the hour. Think about what's in it for them, their needs, wants, empathies, desires. Don't do any free meetings ever. You always charge for advice meetings. Clients assume that we'll do, prospective clients, or we'll do a free first hour. No, always charge for that, because otherwise you're not building the value in yourself, and the clients are going to be more difficult to convert, funnily enough, and you won't make enough money from them. So if you sell value, the client will pay the right price. I had a system where actually it wasn't fee and converting at all. I had a fantastic PA, Esther, who would convert our matters, and she would funnel them into an advice meeting, which was paid for by the client, and they would then be looked after by a fee, and who would then upsell them to a particular. The other quick tip talked about this square, so make sure you follow the square. That's really important. I've got a magic triangle I haven't got time to go through at the moment, but it's all about updates, estimates, monies on account, which I can go through in detail with people. If you're doing fixed fee work, even if you're doing estimates, make sure you get your horizontal and vertical scoping right. So horizontal is time, vertical is task. So if the time becomes prolonged or the task exceeds its width, as it were, make sure that you're clear on what you're charging for. So get your scoping right, negative and positive assumptions, charge for any extra work. On time recording, focus on input rather than output. Everybody comes up with these wonderful billing targets, 20K a month billing. And the problem with that is a psychological barrier. People get to 20K and think, great, I've done my work now. I've hit 20K. And actually, there's not much relationship between 5 chargeable hours a day and 20K. 5 chargeable hours a day is more like 35, 40K. So focus on the input, not the output. And that helps people's mentality. And pricing. Make sure your pricing is appropriate. Make sure you embed value and make sure it's appropriate for the level and type of work that you're doing. So in quick summary on that is, number 1, price the work at the right level. Come up with your differentiators that I've spoken about. 2, define your retainers and charge extra for any additional work. 3, actually do the work. Make sure you're updating the client with my triangle: updates, estimates, money's in account. Do the work. Tell the client you've done the work. Push and tell. Number 4, record all of your time, which is lawyers historically under record because they're not confident in their own abilities. 5, bill the time, and 6, get paid quickly. I've got some debt recovery tips I can go through as well. And one final tip, which really works well, you'll be surprised, psychological tip. If you've gone over estimate or over your bill amount, and you're worried about charging the client extra, magic wording, you won't believe this, Becky, which actually works. Instead of saying, I'm going to charge you extra, client goes, no, you're not. If you say, I have done X extra work for you, and this is the value you've derived from the work because I did X, Y, and Z, and we've got this really good result. You've seen the result we've had from it and the value. I'm in your hands, but could I charge you a bit extra, please? I'm in your hands, but could I charge you a bit extra, please? You'll be amazed how often it works.
I really like that. I'm going to note that down. Very, very good. Okay. So if anyone's listening today, Jay, that wants to get in touch with you to make more money, the Masala mental way, and why would they not, quite frankly, what's the best route of contact? How do you prefer people to contact you?
The best way is probably LinkedIn, because I'm on there about 85 hours a day. So LinkedIn is fantastic. Yeah, just DM me on LinkedIn. If you need to contact me by email, it's j@masalamentor.co.uk. So j@masalamentor.co.uk. Or, as I said, send me a DM on LinkedIn, and as you know, I respond like that. So I'll be back on at them.
He does. He's very, very responsive. That's one of your very good qualities. And finally, if you think you might want to work with me to level up your legal content, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn as well, because that's pretty much where I live. Also, our details will be on the notes. And if you wanted to become a guest on this show, it's pretty exciting, isn't it, Joe? Let's be real, Jay. It's a good place to be. There are a couple of requirements. Okay, there's actually 3 requirements if you want to be on. So first of all, you must work in the legal industry. Second of all, you must be an interesting person, and third of all, I must like you. So if you tick all of those boxes, you can slide into my DMs at any time and I'll get you booked in. I am actually fully booked until April, so please let me know if you'd like a slot. And it's been an absolute pleasure, Jay. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Becky. I've loved it. And thank you for your time and the opportunity. And you're wonderful. So everybody use Becky. She's great.
Oh, you're too kind. What a lovely man you are. So thank you for tuning in, everybody, this lunchtime. If you have not managed to watch the whole thing and you've just jumped on towards the end, where have you been? You should have put it in your diary. But never mind, we will forgive you. You can catch up on the podcast. I will put the details onto the event. So many thanks, and we will catch you soon. Bye for now.
See you soon. Take care. Watch my trick.